Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Mark here from M1 Racing. Thanks ever so much for joining us again on a Wednesday for another round of the GFR Racing Elite League. Very much looking forward to today. You can see our list of drivers there on the left-hand side. A big chunk of them we're hoping will be out on track for us and to give us another incredible racing round. This time, Abu Dhabi. Top right corner of your screen, folks, is the start of the sprint race from last week in Spa. And we'll take a quick look at the results from both the sprint and the feature and what that does to the league after 3 rounds of season 3. So as you can see from the calendar, we are on round 4, just coming up to Abu Dhabi, which would normally be the final race of the season for GFR Racing as it is in the real world, but mixing it up a little bit this week. I think I said in the stream last week that we were expecting to be in Hungary, but you can see that's been shifted to round 7 on the 15th of May. I believe that may be so David T can be with us for that one, but we're in Abu Dhabi this time, which, as I say, was the final race for seasons 1 and 2, but this time it's going to be round 4, and it always delivers us. I should get my words out on this Wednesday. Excellent racing with the GFR Racing League. And these were the results from last week. The sprint race won by Charlie Ark for Red Bull. Keeping up there, good performances early on in the season. But M1 Righty was back with us, and they picked up second in the sprint, and their teammate Goat Ghosty picked up third, with then the 2 Mercedes following them, 4th and 5th, SS7 and Mac T. Then came Obo and M Dorling for Ferrari, and Roadrunner was the last point-paying position from the sprint race. The 2 Williams drivers of Emeleki at their home track in Spa missing out on a point in the sprint race, and Desaves, their teammate, coming in 10th. And then we had the feature race, and that was just an amazing race from start to finish. Let me move the replay on a little bit from last week to the sprint, and you can, to the feature race, and you can see how wet it was around Belgium. It was absolutely throwing it down for pretty much most of the race. It did dry up towards the end, and we got some cars out on slick tyres. But that really made it interesting, and M Dorling came home to get their first ever victory for GFR Racing. They'd been on the podium a couple of times, but never on that top step. Well, last week they did it for Ferrari. Massive haul of points for M Dorling last week. Then came SS7 in second, so a good race for them. And M1 Righty finished in third. So M1 was back picking up points, but they were having to try and make up for the missed week the week before. Mac T finishing there in 4th. Emeleki improving from the sprint, finishing 5th in the feature. And then came Obo, so a good day for Ferrari for sure. Goat Ghosty struggled a little bit in the in the feature race. Not of their own doing, it has to be said. And more on that in just a moment. Mr. Hannes in 8th, Desafest there in 9th, and Charlie Ark, although they finished much further up, they picked up a huge penalty. Sadly for them, a collision with Goat Ghosty under the safety car got them a drive-through penalty, so they dropped back down in the finishing order. 20-second penalty for them down into 10th, but they did still pick up a point. Just keeping my eye on the live feed here in the bottom right corner, just to see when we might be readying up. We've got, I'd say, about 5 minutes or so before the start of qualifying for round 4 in Abu Dhabi, so we've got a little bit of time here, which is very good news, and that allows me to show you where we are in the driver standings after 3 rounds. Charlie Ark does lead the way, basically on I think points and wins at this point, but exactly the same number of points as M1 Righty. So M1 back with us, 23 points in Belgium, 26, so the win and fastest lap in Spain means they've got 49, the same as Charlie. But that missed week in Italy means that they are now sharing the top step of the championship leaders at the moment. But look at MAC-T and SS7 close behind. MAC-T on 46 points, SS7 on 45, and that big haul from M. Dorling in Spa, promoting them up to 5th. Goat Ghosty there in 6th. Emeleki still consistently scoring week on week, but they're in 7th. They will be there or thereabouts come the end of the season for sure. Slightly shortened season for Season 3 as we close out our time here on the F1 23 game. So we only have the 10 rounds as we build up to F1 24. I'm very excited to see that iteration of the game. Obo in 9th in the driver's standing, same points as Roadrunner. And then comes Mr. Hannes on 12, Desaves on 10, Spicy on 6, and F1 Lewis with 1 point. They are the drivers with points so far after round 3. And these are the constructors' standings after 3 rounds. Mercedes with that strong team of SS7 and MAC-T with 91 points so far. Alpine on 78, so that's Goat Ghosty and Charlie Ark. And then Red Bull currently in 3rd on 61. So these are really going to close up, I think, as we go through these races. And if Spa is anything to go by, you cannot pick a winner week on week. There are drivers in our league who have all got the ability to win a race and get on those podiums. So it could all change around today. Williams of 37 at this point. Alfa Romeo on 19. Then McLaren on 6. Now, to give McLaren some credit, they have been without their drivers for a couple of weeks. I think both Spicy and Jay, indeed, are back with us this week. I can see them in the lobby, so that's very good news. So we're going to have both McLarens out. I had hoped to see them in Spa last week. Jay, as I should call them now, had a brilliant round in Spa in Season 2. They were pushing SHS and M1 all the way in that race, but unfortunately couldn't make it out for the Spa last week. So McLaren missing out on some big points. Goat Ghost is just coming into the lobby now, which is good. So we're getting close, I think, to starting. And Aston Martin just with the one solitary point, but I think F1 Lewis and Diaz are with us this week. I definitely see F1 Lewis in... Oh, yeah, they're both there in the lobby, so we will have both Aston Martin drivers out. And Haas and AlphaTauri yet to score. Now, we are in Abu Dhabi, and of course it was the grand finale of Season 2 in Abu Dhabi last time out, and M1 was the victor there, which allowed them to take the championship for Season 2. And Championship 1 winner, SHS Predestinato, finished in 2nd. Now, obviously no SHS Predestinato in Season 3. I'm very glad that SHS is actually in the FIA team. They have not left the league entirely, but they're not racing with us this season. So M1 is the one to beat for sure in Abu Dhabi. And actually, if I remember correctly, M1 Righty did also win the Season 1 race, but because they joined the league relatively late in Season 1, they weren't really fighting for the championship back then. The battle was between SHS Predestinato and MVRJ Repo. SHS Predestinato coming through to win the championship, but I think they finished 4th in the race itself. Charlie Ark started very well in Abu Dhabi last time out. I think only their 2nd or 3rd race with G-Force Racing. You see F1 Lewis from last week struggling in the wet without a front wing to try and stay on track. You see just how incredibly wet it was last week in Belgium. A lot of our drivers really struggling. We'll be hoping for a dry race in Abu Dhabi. G-Force Racing is known to have a number of wet races each season, and Spa was particularly exceptional just by the amount of rain. I don't think I've ever seen it that much. So it looks as though we are readying up, folks. So what we're going to do is hit our intro, and I'll see you on the other side in qualifying. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you on the other side of this. 3 cars wide. McTee's trying to get down the inside of him, Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from him, one there. All right, folks, let's go racing. Well, good day, folks. Thanks ever so much for joining us here on M1 Racing. We are under the lights in Abu Dhabi, which means SS7 has actually set the game correctly for realistic. So we do get a night race here in Abu Dhabi. It wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility for us to have a daytime race, but fortunately we are under the lights where it looks the best. I am on my own this week in terms of voice commentary, so no Rio, as Rio takes a break from the commentary box for a week. We're hoping to have Rio back with us next week, and Toby is actually going to be out on track, which is brilliant news. So we get an extra driver out on track. Look for Ace Pilot there, driving for AlphaTauri, see if they can pick up some points for Alpha, as we saw in the pre-race chat. AlphaTauri have yet to pick up any points, so we're hoping Ace Pilot may be able to do that for them. I'm sure Ace will probably be a little bit out of practice, but they do like Abu Dhabi, so we hope they will keep it on track, and will certainly give Toby some airtime here as our drivers come out in qualifying. Roadrunner looks to be one of the first ones to be out on track, as is Charlie Ark. We'll bring up our track map as well so we can see where our drivers are circulating on track round this brilliant circuit here in Abu Dhabi. 5.3 kilometres long. We've got 16 corners for our drivers to negotiate. 2 DRS zones, but boy are they powerful, and they're really going to contribute to our main overtaking points in turns 1, 5, 6 and 9. Yes, it's G-Force Racing. Will it rain? I don't think so, but you never know. Pete says in my ear, 3% chance of rain. So I'm very pleased to say Pete is with me, as always, to keep us focused on the racing out on track and try and bring to you anything that I miss here in commentary, because I don't have my extra sets of eyes from Toby and Rio this week. And this is Roadrunner just warming up their tyres for their first flying lap around here. Roadrunner has set some pretty spectacular qualifying times in recent races. They had a good race in Imola. We're battling up the front with MacT and Charlie Ark before eventually finishing second in that race. So let's ride on board with Roadrunner as they get underway here into turn 1. And from here we're going to accelerate all the way up the hill through turns 2, 3 and 4, and we're heading down to the hairpin at turn 5. Roadrunner coming in pretty late on the apex, which is what we want to get a great exit out of here. Jay in the McLaren has left us already, it would seem. I hope Jay has not had major connectivity issues. We've been looking forward to them coming back. But looks as though they might have had some problems, or just don't fancy qualifying. We shall see. As Roadrunner comes through the chicane, turn 6 and 7 there, back on the power into our second DRS zone, heading down towards turn 9. We'll see a lot of overtakes into turn 9. Some drivers taking a wide line through here, others taking a tighter line. Cars everywhere on the track as our drivers try and get their first laps in. Charlie Ark sets is the fastest time so far, the only time of qualifying so far, 1:22.479. That is the target for Roadrunner here. As we come round turns 15 and now 16 back on to the start-finish straight. Over the finish line for the fastest time so far. David T is in the Twitch chat. We're safe, Pete. We've got the stats man with us. Thanks, David. Good to have you with us. Now, David, you'll have to tell me, did you have an influence on the rescheduling of Abu Dhabi to round 4? Let me know. But we are delighted to be here because this track gives us great racing every time we've been here with G-Force Racing. So we are looking forward to this one. Spicy Nuts has just started their flying lap. We welcome Spicy back after a bit of a break. SS7 setting the fastest time, 122.224. Good start from SS7, who's had some pace in recent weeks. David T says they can neither confirm nor deny their influence on the rescheduling of Abu Dhabi, but we have no problem with it at all. But if you have tuned in this week hoping for Hungary, I'm afraid you'll have to wait just a few more weeks for that one. As we head down our first DRS zone into turn 6, Spicy trying to set their first flying lap of round 4. M. Dorling with a time of 122.430 has provisional second in qualifying. Spicy ploughing down now into turn 9. Pretty tight apex from Spicy. Get on the power as quickly as we can coming out of turn 9. And we're going to head around now towards the lights of the hotel. And this tricky sequence of corners through 13 and 14, the car wants to drift out towards that barrier on the right hand side. And we're going to come over the line with Spicy as the back end steps out on the McLaren. We cross the line. Spicy has invalidated, so no time for Spicy on that particular one. Pete was telling me that Obo and M. Dorling were playing the DRS game together as teammates, helping Obo get a bit of a slipstream from their Ferrari teammate. M. Dorling already provisional third. M. Dorling heading on their way back in. David T tells us they will be with us on track for Hungary, so that's going to be excellent. David T tends to go well around Hungary, likes that track a lot. Maybe not quite as much as Qatar, but it's definitely up there. Also good track for Emeleki, so come join us for that one. We might see some drivers that we don't normally see on the top step up there. Obo sets the time, 122.791, just half a second pretty much between SS7 and Obo at this point, all the way down there from 1st to 7th. So very close. Diaz not a million miles away from them either. Desaves has set a time, 122.370. Very good time for Desaves, provisional second for them, so shifting M. Dorling down. That's Mac T setting a time of early time 122.516. Mac T, a really strong performance so far as we go on board with Goat Ghosty. Two Mercedes drivers were going to be my pick at the start of the season for potential Constructors' Championship, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Mac T or SS7 up on the podium, or indeed both drivers today. But they're going to have some strong competition from the two Alpines. We're with Goat Ghosty, who's shown some real pace in recent weeks. Did not have the luck of the draw in Spa, that's for sure. But looking to get their first time in. Their teammate M1 Righty is not yet out of the pits, so this will be the first Alpine lap. No one yet beating SS7 with a 122.224. M1 just leaving the pits now. As we look to go underneath the hotel. Goat taking quite a tight line before they go underneath the bridge. Nicely controlled there from Goat. I have been impressed with Goat's driving style. They are aggressive, but they're very controlled. So they come over the line. Goat Ghosty takes provisional pole, 121.817, 4 tenths quicker than SS7. So Goat has some real pace here. First lap, of course, but it is, and Pete's telling me it was all in that last sector largely. Sector 3 really gained 2 tenths there on everyone else. So purple for Goat Ghosty in Sector 3, very good lap time. We'll see what their teammate M1 Righty is going to do in a moment. Let's get on board with F1 Lewis, who has yet to set a time. Looks as though they've invalidated already, looking at that red all around the track map. So no good for F1 Lewis at this point. Let's get it. Emeleki has just crossed the line, I should say, with a time 122.7. 4.9. Roadrunner is back out on another lap. We will have a look at tyres, just in case some have tried the medium tyre gambit. No, everyone out on soft tyres, so no one conserving those. And realistically here around Abu Dhabi, soft tyres are not going to be the tyre of choice in the race itself. Pete's telling me that M1 Rice is pulled out of their lap, so they will probably have to go. Well, they definitely will have to go again if they want to set a time. For those of you joining us for the first time on M1 Racing with the GFR Racing Elite League, the qualifying usually is just one session of 18 minutes. Drivers can go out as many times as they like in those 18 minutes to set their best lap time. They can use as many tyres as they have available to them, but any tyres they do use are going to influence what they will have available to them in the main race. So some will only do one, maybe two qualifying laps. Others will try and do a few more. Ace Pilot is out there for AlphaTauri, so we'll get with Ace here. They've got a time of 1:24.945, but they'll certainly be hoping for better than that. Where is Ace? So they're just coming down the first of the really long straights here in Abu Dhabi. We'll see a lot of overtaking down here into the chicane. F1 has just had a spin, Peter's telling me, so F1 struggling to connect this together. They've got Mercedes here coming up behind Ace of, I think that's SS7, unless that's Mac-T on a hot lap. It is indeed. So Ace Pilot out the way of Mac-T. Let's get on board with Mac-T, see how they do here. Also bring up the lap data top right corner so we can see if Mac-T is improving, and they are marginally up on their previous time. Mac-T typically has quite a balanced setup I've seen from previous races, so not always the fastest in qualifying, but they always have good race pace. And on medium and hard tyres, Mac-T is always very strong. Coming around the final corners here. Bit of a twitch on the exit from Mac-T. They improved massively. Indeed, taking provisional second, nearly 122 dead, 122.090 for Mac-T. So good lap from the Mercedes driver, getting ahead of their teammate. Ace Pilot now on a flying lap. We're on board with Ace, so it's my co-commentator, one of them, Toby, who's normally with me here in the commentary box, but out on track, which is really good to see. It's going to take a little while for me to get used to Ace driving in an AlphaTauri. Usually see them in a Williams, but both of those Williams seats now taken by Desaves and Emeleki. Spicy Nuts up to 11th, 123.161 is their fastest time so far. Down into the chicane at turn 6. Nice first apex from Ace, back on the power. Across the DRS line now. Wide open as we go around this very slight bend. Not really a corner, it's not even counted as one. Through 9. The car will get unsettled here as we go heading towards the hotel. Try and guide the car around, and sadly for Toby, that's in the wall, and Toby will have to go again. Hopefully he can get into the pits. It was going so well for Ace Pilot there. Very calm, controlled lap, and just a bit too much throttle as they came through under the hotel, and that was the end of their lap. So we'll leave Toby, Ace Pilot, to get a new front wing, and hopefully they've just got enough time. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to go of qualifying. Number of our drivers heading back into the pits. M1 Righty is on an outlap, and they're just coming back around to start their qualifying lap. They have yet to set a time, M1 Righty, so our champion from Season 2, winner in Spain, missed Imola, and then finished fourth in, I think it was third or fourth in the feature race in Spa last week. So M1 looking to set their first time here. We should expect, if M1 can put this together, to be up towards the front. We know they have the pace. And we'll watch for M1's strategy in the race itself. They've gone, for both races we've seen them in here in Abu Dhabi, they've gone hards then mediums. So I wonder if our drivers have been doing any research on tyre strategies that work around Abu Dhabi, but that's definitely worked twice for M1. Very much a master of strategy in the league. One of the better ones to always be able to judge the right tyres at the right time. So M1's coming down to turn 9. Purple in sector 2. So it's going well for M1 at this point. Let's go on board with them. Coming up to turn 13. Don't want to get too far over those curbs on the exit of 13. Then 14 where the wall's coming at you. Through 15. Braking into 16. Back on the power. Again, not too much curb on the exit. And there we go. M1 right here. 121.692. Purple every single sector for M1. So M1 is definitely back, and they want to retain their championship for sure. Charlie Ark is their closest runner for that crown right now, but as we saw from the pre-race stats, MacT, SS7, M Dorling all have their eyes on that particular prize. So Charlie looking to set a time much improved to that 122.479. Obo's getting better, going better on their current flying lap. Let's get down to them. We'll come back to Charlie in a moment. Yeah, indeed, Obo improving by 0.3 already. Big improvement from them. Do not need to get too much extra time to move up. Big number of places here with our drivers ever so close together. Less than 2 minutes to go of qualifying now. As Obo's going to come round to, I expect, improve on their time. Indeed, 122.420, sixth. So just in front of their teammate M Dorling. Think they'll be returning the favour of DRS to M Dorling very shortly indeed. Going wide here. Try and position their car. So let's come away from M Dorling there. Desaves, being told by Pete, has bailed on their flying lap, so they might just have enough time if they've reserved enough battery to go one more time. We were going to be with Charlie Ark. So an unfortunate mistake from Charlie last week under the safety car. I mean, they picked up a big old penalty, which really impacted their finishing position, but they were right towards the front of the finishing order on track last week. And Charlie went well here, finishing third last time out. So Charlie's car goes very wide, pushing very hard through the exit of 9 there. So that time is gone for Charlie. SS7 is about to start a hot lap. M1 righty has retired, so they're very happy with their 121.692. No need to burn up any more tyres for them. SS7 is going to be targeting at least their teammates' time. MacT over 122.090. All of our drivers now out of the pits trying to get a final fast lap in. F1 Lewis, the only driver yet to set a time. DS has also retired. They've had enough of qualifying for this session. So M1, provisional first. Goat Ghosty, provisional second. And then MacT. We're riding on board with MacT's teammate, SS7, as they come through turn 6 and 7. We're coming through sector 2 here. SS7 staying close to this wall on the left-hand side. SS7 improving by 0.2 already. Can they gain any more back? That will put them in provisional third. Roadrunner takes provisional third. 122.037 for them. And as I was saying, folks, we can never really predict winners here in G-Force Racing. It has got so tight between our drivers with such an equal standard. Oh, and SS7 again tries to get on the power a bit too early. They do improve, 122.089. Pops ahead of their teammate MacT, who's just coming over the line now. And MacT improves, so they steal that third place from Roadrunner. Charlie is the only one left to come across the line, and they do with a 122.067. So they really recovered from that moment out of turn 9 on that previous lap to still 5th. And that is the end of qualifying, folks. So M1 is going to start on the front row, and their teammate Ghosty is going to be alongside them. Very good start. This is going to be for the Alpines, followed by Mac T, keeping up their strong form. At this point, I would be asking Rio and Toby who they think might be winning this race. But I'm going to ask Pete the same question. Pete has gone M1 straight away. Talk about go with a favourite here, I think, Pete. Yeah, I don't think that's a fair shout. M1 has got to be the driver to beat here. And you look at that qualifying time, 121.692. That puts M1 in P1. Their teammate Ghosty alongside them for Alpine. Then comes Mac T alongside Roadrunner. Then Charlie Ark alongside SS7. Then DSFS, very good qualifying time for them, out-qualifying their teammate Emeleki for Williams with a 122.212. Then come the two Ferraris of Obo, followed by M. Dorling. Obo out-qualifying M. Dorling. David, if you're with me and you can chat in the Twitch chat, let me know. Is that the first time Obo has out-qualified M. Dorling? I think it might be. So possibly one for the head-to-heads there. And David's going for M1 righty for the win. I think David may be right. And then DS, Spicy Nuts, Ace Pilot, and then Jay, who didn't get a time in at all. They left us pretty much within the first minute of qualifying. So hopefully we will see Jay out there on the starting grid. We have no formation lap in the Elite League. When you see the drivers lined up on the grid, we will be seeing 5 lights, and then we will be racing here around the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. No sign of rain, although as in that part of the world, if you've been watching the news, there's been quite a lot of rain in the Middle East. And David is double checking for me on the Ferrari stats as well, on the head-to-heads between Obo and M. Dorling. There's, I think, a low likelihood of safety cars here, but we have had a couple. We had Sancho Killer, notably in the last race, did a bit of a Latifi and put their AlphaTauri in the wall, which really made it interesting for the last handful of laps of the final race of season 2. So it did make it very interesting for the end. But other than that, there's so much runoff area here, except around the hotel, that I don't think we will see many safety cars. But we saw what happened to Ace Pilot under qualifying. Driver gets a bit too greedy on the throttle, and they happen to be on a curb or something like that at the time. We can easily see a driver heading into the wall. And Ace has left the session, so I don't know if that's a connectivity issue for them or whether or not they'll be back in, or we may even hear their voice in commentary. I'm going to open up the Discord if Toby does join us. And David's asking, did F1 Lewis set a qualifying time? And Pete's confirmed no, they didn't. So no time for F1 Lewis, sadly, for them. So they will be starting at the back of the grid. Fastest lap during quali was 121.692. Fastest race in the lap in real world, 126.103. Max Verstappen. All right, folks, let's go racing. Round 4, the G-Force Racing Elite League. Brilliant start from M1 Righty. Has really led this field away. A teammate of Ghosty has gone with them, but has really fallen back into Roadrunner, Mac T and Charlie Ark. Oh, and that's Charlie who's gone very sideways. I think they are off track. So we've lost Charlie very, very early on as those cars ever so close together coming through turn 3 or 4, I think it was there. So that's really put Charlie right at the back of the grid. Hopefully they didn't pick up any penalties, but we do have. So there was me talking about no safety cars, and within the first couple of corners, we have a VSC, a virtual safety car. So our drivers won't bunch up massively. They do have to drive to a delta time, but considering it is so early on in the race, our drivers will be very close to each other. We'll go all the way down to Charlie, see if they did pick up any damage. We can see F1 Lewis definitely does have damage there. They have lost their front wing for F1 Lewis. Charlie looks to be all in one piece, so we'll hopefully be able to recover. Indeed, Ace is ghosting, so I think Ace has had a connectivity issue there. So we'll head back towards the front. M1 Righty leads us away on lap 1, but under the virtual safety car. Their teammate Goat Ghosty is in second. Roadrunner has moved up into third, taking, I think, advantage of a bit of a collision between, or a bit of a moment there at least for Charlie. So Roadrunner up into third. MacT is with their teammate SS7. We're back under green flag racing now as we start lap 2. M1 leading us away in a race that we predict is likely to be theirs, but a number of our drivers will have something to say about that for sure. SS7 knows MacT going very wide there. Dropping down to Obo, who's under pressure here from Decivest. So drivers would have been trying to manage. Emeleki and F1 Lewis I see going into the pits as there's a move by Decivest on the inside of turn 5 there. Doesn't look as though they've been able to make that stick. So Obo accelerates down this main straight. DRS not yet active. That will be on the next lap, I suspect. We'll see an awful lot of overtakes into turn 6 here as the racing gets underway proper. Spicy has done well to move up into 8th in the McLaren. And Jay is out there. That's very good news. Okay, so Jay on the back of this train of cars behind DS79. Ace has still not reconnected with their car, I don't think, so still ghosted. That's allowing Charlie Arc to close in on the AlphaTauri, and they will hopefully want to get on the back of this chain of chain of drivers. I was going to put DRS in that because DRS is going to be ever so important here round Abu Dhabi to allow our drivers to stay in touch. DS trying to go around the outside there of M. Dorling. M. Dorling holding the inside. SS7 setting the fastest lap of the race so far. DS not able to make that one stick. So M. Dorling holding on to 9th at the moment, but under all sorts of pressure from DS79 behind them. But DS also has Jay in the McLaren behind them. We haven't seen Jay out on track for a long while, so I suspect they might feel a little bit rusty today. You see DS trying to make a move on the inside of M. Dorling. Looks as though they may have got through, depends on the exit that M. Dorling has behind him. Indeed, now M. Dorling will go down the inside as we go into turn 6 here at the end of the main straight, last of the late breakers. And M. Dorling has the inside for that one and moves back up into 9th. Good racing from these two. Let's get back up to the front as it's got very close between Goat Ghosty and M1 right indeed. Goat goes through on the inside of turn 9 to assume the lead of this race. So the two Alpines battling it out early on. Let me bring up the tyres, because that will tell us what our drivers might be thinking in terms of strategy. Most of our drivers out on hard tyres. There's a handful out on mediums. And rightly so, some teammates going on split strategies here so that there's little risk of stacking in the pit lane. And they can also see which one works best for their team as a whole. There's a bit of moment there for Goat, who sets the fastest lap of the race at 125.125. Very early on, though. Only lap 4 of 29. Long way for us to go just yet. So SS7, Decivest, DS79 and Emeleki all on medium tyres. We know Emeleki and F1 Lewis have already been into the pits. So that would at least ensure that they've completed that one mandatory pit stop as long as they've gone on to a different tyre compound. We're with M1 Righty and Goat Ghosty as the Alpines switch places for the lead of this race. I wouldn't be surprised if these two are working together early on, try and drag each other away. But as you can see, folks, the drivers from position 1 down to MacT all pretty much within DRS range, and then there's a bit of a gap to 1 second to Decivest and Obo. So Decivest is going to be under pressure from the Ferrari very quickly here. They won't have the protection of DRS from the car in front, so we'll be pretty much a sitting duck if Obo wants to take advantage of that when we get to the next DRS zone. M1 about half a second ahead to go, and looks as though SS7 has got through. Indeed they have on Roadrunner. So SS7 moves up into 3rd place in the running order. So those medium tyres obviously working better for them than the hards at this point. We saw the hards really come into their own about 7 or 8 laps in. SS7 goes wide. We'll also see track limits play a role here. If you put all 4 wheels over the white lines at the edge of the track, folks, you will get a track limits warning from race control, and if you pick up 3 of those, you'll get a 3-second time penalty. I think that is what's happened to DS at 79 at the moment, the only one with a penalty. We will look at penalties later on in the race. They may well play a role in the final finishing order, as SS7 now closes right onto the back of Goat Ghosty. They will have DRS now as we head down towards turn 9. Big grandstand on the right hand side, and indeed it seems a little bit lighter than normal here. Maybe it's gradually getting darker now as we're obviously getting into the race, so it will gradually get darker for our drivers and will be pitch black by the time we come to lap 29 here. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I think that may be one of the Aston Martins. Indeed it is. So I think that may be DS79 having a bit of a moment towards the back end of the grid there, as we're on board with SS7, who's trying to stay with the Alpines of M1 and Goat Ghosty as we start lap 6. Let's get down to DS79, who is still with Spicy Nuts and Jay following them behind, but Spicy now without that protection of DRS and quite a way back from Obo. Decivest has done well to pull away from Obo, and these mediums now warmed up a little bit will have a lot more grip than the hards around them, at least for the next few laps. Ace has spun, so that tells us that Ace Pilot is out on track and driving their car. But sadly for Toby, struggling a little bit and not having the greatest of starts as the Aston goes through on the McLaren of Spicy Nuts. So DS79 moves up into 8th spot. They do have a penalty that will come into play at the end of this race unless they can serve that in the pit lane. But DS79 on track at least has moved up. Spicy now looking to be under pressure from their own teammate. J indeed does move past Spicy into 9th. So Spicy, Jay and Diaz very close together. M. Dorling has joined in this party as well in 11th. M. Dorling had a slow start in the last race in Season 2, but they might be starting to build into this race as they did in the last race of Season 2. So we'll keep an eye on the Ferrari driver. Don't think this is one of their favourite tracks, but certainly M. Dorling, after their victory last week, will be hoping to add a few more points to their already significant haul, and will want to play a role in terms of deciding where the championship goes to this season. Let's get up to SS7 and Roadrunner. That third place is switching around one more time. Mac T looking to get on the action. Let's ride on board with Mac T as we go into turn 6, hanging back a little bit from the Alpha and their teammate in front, and rightly so. SS7 just managing to keep on track there, now has the inside as we head down towards turn 9. Mac T will be thinking about a move here. Don't need to force it at this early stage, and they can let their teammate go and hopefully drag them with them. See, our drivers take so many different lines through turn 9. There's one with earlier apex closer to the curb, and then there's one with a much wider line allowing you to carry more speed, but obviously a further distance to travel. So a good battle at the front here between these 5 drivers. The Goat Ghosty, M1 Righty, SS7 Roadrunner and Mac T, as we're about to start lap 8 here. Just coming up on a third of the way through the race, and this is playing out very, very nicely. Pit stops for our medium runners, I'm going to guess, are going to be around about lap 13 or 14. Depending on safety cars and any other events that may occur in the interim. I'm going to get back down to Diaz, Jay and Spicy Nuts, who are line astern here, and M. Dorling is starting to look a little bit more racy here in their Ferrari. Onto the back of Spicy Nuts, and we'll have DRS here, and they're very close. Let's get on board with M. Dorling as we head down towards the chicane here. M. Dorling pulls out. We'll be using a little bit of battery, but is they going to do it on braking? No, they decide to tuck back in behind McLaren. No change of positions there, but it looks as though we've got a ghosting Aston Martin there, and that's caused all sorts of problems for Jay, it would seem. And that's given an opportunity for M. Dorling to come through. I think Diaz had some kind of moment there. They certainly seemed to ghost at least, which caught Jay out. And that's promoted M. Dorling into 9th at the moment, getting past Spicy. And we saw the Aston going very, very slow there for a moment of DS79. So very close racing between these drivers, fighting it out for 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. And that's allowing Charlie Ark, who we've not forgotten about, to get on the back of these drivers. So Charlie having to work super hard here to recover from that moment on lap 1. Fastest lap of the race so far is still Goat Ghosty with a 125.125. F1 Lewis has given us another yellow flag, Pete's telling me, and is going again, so no safety car. So Charlie Ark now within DRS of Jay in front of them. As I was saying, Charlie having to work ever so hard to make up for the time lost from that early incident on lap 1. But now on the back of these, and then we'll hope to try and make some kind of gains if they can hold out on these hard tyres as long as they can. Perhaps take the advantage of a safety car would really play into their hands at the right time. But it's a pretty tough start to the race, but they are now on the back of these cars in front of them. And if they get into DRS, and M. Dorling moving through on DS79 to assume 8th place. So indeed, M. Dorling starting to come into this race. These hard tyres also starting to switch on. I'm going to ask Pete just to do a comparison between the medium and the hard runners on more recent laps to see if there's much of a difference now. But I suspect that gap is getting ever so close now, and those mediums will be starting to fall off. Pete's telling me Decivest is starting to lose some pace. SS7 is certainly hanging on in there with the drivers at the front. So SS7 doing okay. 9 laps in on their mediums. Their teammate Mac T behind them. But I think we'll know when SS7 is passed by Mac T where that switchover time has come. So M. Dorling is now trying to get onto the back of Obo, their teammate. And with a bit of luck, those two Ferrari drivers will be working together, trying to pull out a bit of a gap on DS79. So those mediums have definitely gone for Diaz. And let's see then if Spicy and Jay, indeed Jay is now under pressure from Charlie Ark. We are not at the front of the grid at the moment, folks. We can understand why, because all the action is right down here for the lower positions at the moment. But with Charlie Ark looking to recover from an incident on turn in lap 1, is alongside Jay, looking to go round the outside into turn 9. And will Charlie, indeed. So Charlie has backed off there. Jay really defending heavily, and that's dropping them back from their teammate Spicy. So they're going to be outside DRS very, very shortly if they're not careful, and that's going to really help Charlie get past. We're on board here with Charlie. Charlie goes very wide there, so that will be a track limit warning almost certainly for Charlie, and you won't want too many of those, particularly with Jay in front already picking up a penalty. Charlie can keep this clean. That will promote them a handful of places at the end of the race also. But Charlie pushing hard here. On to the back of... Spicy's gone very, very wide also. So numerous lines around turns 1 and 2. But that one, the stewards are not going to permit. We're heading down here into turn 5. Closing up under braking. And we'll come away from Charlie as they look to continue to move up the field. So Obo and M. Dorling have got together now. So M. Dorling passed on Obo. So M. Dorling continuing to move up the field and try and pull away now and get after Decivest. That's their next target. 5 seconds ahead into the distance. Decivest, 2.8 seconds there. The gap to SS7 and really dropped down a little there. Obo and M. Dorling switching places with the benefit of DRS, but that has pulled them away from DS79. So the Ferraris, very smart move by them. Try and work together to try and break that DRS to the chasing cars behind and hopefully propel them after Decivest on those hard tyres, which will go much, much better and much longer into the latter stages of the first half of this race. We can see the gap between SS7 and Decibes reaching out to 3 seconds now. And indeed, SS7 has been passed by Mac T. So Ace Pilot picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits there. So Mac T now back up into 4th. And SS7 will not want to drop off the back of this train of cars if they can possibly avoid it. But they'll be looking to do the undercut here. Get in on those hard tyres as early as possible. Set some fast lap times, build a bit of a gap. New tyres are going to be worth at least 2 seconds a lap, I'd say, in the early stages here. And if SS7 can build enough of a gap, they may be able to hold on to a podium position towards the end of this race. But the 2 Mercedes drivers definitely on the shout for a podium at this point. But so is Roadrunner here. Back with us for another week for Alfa Romeo, the only Alfa Romeo driver out there on track. And I don't think we've seen Timmy 2009 for a couple of weeks, which is a shame. So it'd be good to have both Alfa Romeos out there. But it's just Roadrunner flying the flag for Alfa Romeo this week. M1 Righty leads the way on lap 12, just about to start lap 13. We'll keep an eye on the pits here as we've got another yellow flag in sector 3. And let's... well, there wasn't. We've got Charlie still going there, and Ace has DNF'd. We've missed Ace DNFing. Well, they'll be glad we didn't see them DNF. We might hear from Toby in a little while, but sadly we've lost Ace Pilot. I was just about to come to Toby as well, just to give them some airtime, but they've left us already. So sorry, Toby, but we have lost the AlphaTauri driver. But the yellow flag is still out there in sector 3. The Ace's car is still out on track, but it is now cleared. Okay, so the marshals have managed to get rid of that AlphaTauri, so we're back with no yellow flags, no safety car. One of the benefits here in Abu Dhabi is we don't get too many safety cars, and that allows us to keep racing. So M1 is leading the way on lap 13 from their teammate Ghosty. Then comes Roadrunner. M1 trying to retain their crown for GeForce Racing in our last ever season of F1 23 for GeForce Racing Elite League. Yes, we are going to be back, folks, but with F1 24. And I'm being told by Pete that Toby is with me in the commentary box. Toby, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, talk us through it. What happened?
My game and wheel decided not to communicate just before the start of the race, and then I kept on cutting out, causing me the spins.
That is not good news at all. We were just about to come to you for some coverage,
Yeah.
and then Pete said Ace has DNF'd. So it's dreadful, Toby.
I just retired because like my wheel kept on cutting out, and I was like, I'm not even going to try anymore. I've just replaced a wing. I can't be bothered.
Well, you've joined us perhaps at a good time because we can recap for you and the other folks who are watching with us here on M1 Racing what's happened so far and where we're at. So M1 Righty leads the way, has done pretty much since lap 1, but switching between them and Ghosty from time to time. But Roadrunner following on behind them. We have a safety car. DS79. DS79 has retired. So this is where we will see the pit stops. And for our medium runners, Toby, I know you're just coming to this, but for our medium runners, this is about perfect timing, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got the league tools up just because it's got all the other stats that I can use for racing, but I've been keeping an eye on their tyres even through the race.
So SS7 and Decibes are going to be delighted, as is Emeleki, as indeed I think will Charlie Ark. So Toby, you may not have seen this, but Charlie had some kind of incident very literally on, I think, it was on lap 1 around about turn 2.
Lap 1.
And
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, was it contact or did they just lose it? It was very tight through there with a lot of cars.
I only saw what you guys were streaming because my game was crashed then and I hadn't got the invite by then.
Yeah, I couldn't look fast enough, to be honest. So all of our drivers, I think, are in. I wouldn't be surprised
They've
if
double stacked in Alpine.
Yeah,
That's
I
gonna be
think
awkward.
everyone's got to do it. Very close from Jay there. Charlie Ark is in. Now, is Emeleki coming in? No, Emeleki has pitted once already, but I think Emeleki's got to pit, haven't they, Toby? They've pitted once already, but these mediums are very old now.
Where's Emeleki?
They're just coming. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Emeleki's
think he's
coming in.
fit.
Yeah, he's,
But the winner out of that is, I think, Decivec, because they've jumped SS7 in the pits. They were behind them before, and they've jumped them.
yeah, because of that stacking. So you're good observation, Toby. Yeah, indeed. So Emeleki's teammate Decivec assumes 5th place in the running order here, having taken the advantage of being able to pit ahead of their teammate and the stacking from the 2 Mercedes, who were literally line astern going into the pit. So the risk, but at the same time, Mercedes couldn't afford to stay out under the safety car, so they had to come in, and that's always the risk. So just our 2 DNFs, DS79 and Ace Pilot. And just the 2 hard runners, Pete is rightly pointing out. So Decivec and SS7, everyone else staying out on mediums. So Toby, that's a bold move for our medium drivers. Some had no choice, of course, with halfway through the race, but those mediums are going to be hurting quite a lot come lap 29.
Definitely, but they might also have a spare pair of softs in the chamber just in case they want to try and, yes, they'll pit, but they might be able to gap themselves enough to make a soft run worth it.
So we're on lap 15 under the safety car. And drivers, all of them having pitted now at least once. We'll take a look at the winners and losers, actually. So, Roadrunner up 2, largely benefiting from the stacking of the Alpines there in the pits. They'd been running in 3rd up till the pit stops and the safety car. Ghosty down 2 because, again, of that stacking for the Alpines. Decivec gaining from the stacking of the Mercedes, so up into 5th, up to SS7, where they started. M. Dorling, Toby, has gradually eased into this race. I don't know if you recall from Season 2 that they didn't go too well at the start, but gradually came into the race, and they didn't qualify so great, actually out-qualified by their teammate Obo for, I think, the first time. We were debating with David T. But now just gradually moving up the running order, now into 7th. So M. Dorling, after their victory last week, perhaps might be hoping for a good performance here again in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, M. Dorling's one of those smart players that won't be great, isn't great at the start of it, but will come into it tyre saving, and is just great at the end of a race.
Well, certainly the safety car is helping out the medium runners. No question about that. We are going to get, no sign the safety car is coming in just at the moment, but indeed, there, as I say it, safety car in this lap. That's good news, folks. So we are going to go racing on lap 17. M1 Righty is going to lead them away as they start to back the field back up again. Quite a bit of chat going on in the drivers' chat on Discord at the moment, I can tell you, folks, but I can't share all of it with you. But M1 Righty is going to lead them away. Roadrunner, they're in 2nd. MacT now in 3rd, being promoted as a result of all that pit stop shenanigans, but certainly playing into the hands of MacT. Many of our drivers now on medium tyres, but a long way for them to go. So 2 stops for 1 stop for everyone except Emeleki and F1 Lewis. Emeleki and F1 both picking up, I think, some damage early on, so that disadvantaging them in the running order. But all of these gaps now closed up, and we've got to wait for M1 Righty to go. M1's gone now. Okay, so with 2 corners still to go, M1 is off. So that's quite an early restart from M1 Righty, but they've led the field away, Toby.
Yeah, the issue with leaving it late is everyone's going to expect it then. If you go early, you've got all the time in the world to get people not to expect it, but then they have time to come back at it. So,
but it didn't catch Roadrunner out too much at this stage. So MacT has also gone with them, and Ghosty also. Decivec on those hard tyres may struggle a little bit, and they're going to have the fast charging SS7 behind them, looking to make up a position that they lost through those pit stops. I'm on board with SS7 as they do not want to leave that train of cars in front of them. Decivec trying to defend on the inside. SS7 looking to find a way round the outside. SS7 tucks back in on the exit of 6, then through 7, back on the power a little bit earlier than Decifest. So SS7 will now have the outside as these two drivers head down towards turn 9. SS7 desperate to get on the back of Ghosty in front of them. As we come away from SS7, are they on the outside? Indeed, as the camera picks them up, now has the inside of 10. And indeed, SS7 moves back into 5th place. Good move by SS7.
Between the McLaren and the Red Bull. Sorry for butting in, but of a bit of contact between Spicy and Charlie.
It's got very close down the bottom. Some might say spicy. It would, I might say. 123.837, fastest lap so far from M1 Righty. We know M1 can take those tyres a long way, but Charlie Ark and Spicy Nuts very close together here. Charlie trying to recover from those difficulties so early on in the race, but now up into 9th and putting Spicy under all sorts of pressure in the Red Bull. So we're going to come through turn 5. Charlie gets so much faster exit out of turn 5 and is on to the back of Spicy Nuts. F1 Lewis picking up another 3-second time penalty. As we see all sorts of cars, and Charlie sends it down the inside. They've gone a bit too deep. The Ferrari of M. Dawley sees them coming, and Charlie has held on to that move. So 8th place for Charlie. Spicy dropping down to 9th. And Charlie now has M. Dawling in their sights. Very aggressive move there, Toby, by Charlie Ark, but they are past Spicy and now on the back of M. Dawling.
Yeah, definitely. To be in this league and fight in the pack, you have to be really aggressive compared to others.
And there's a lot of trust required with the drivers around you and those that you're racing against to make those kind of moves work. But Charlie is through and now putting M. Dawling under pressure for that 7th place. Let's get back on board with Charlie as they continue to make their way up through the field. So M1 has the pace early on. SS7 has really dropped back from Ghosty. They've really not been able to get onto the back of that chain of cars, but they may come back to them as we're on board with Charlie on the inside of M. Dawling for turn 5. M. Dawling hanging on to the outside, but Charlie is through and up into 7th place ahead of M. Dawling. So M. Dawling will now be able to sit back behind Charlie and perhaps go with them here. We're going to stay with Charlie for a little bit because they are now going to be on the back of Decifest on those hard tyres and then SS7. So Charlie trying to make hay while the sun shines here. And
Roadrunner's just overtaken M1 in turn 9.
So M1 has been overtaken by Roadrunner. Thank you, Toby, for that one. So Roadrunner assumes the lead of this race. And Roadrunner could be on for their first victory. As SS7 and Charlie Ark and Decifest are ever so close together. And Charlie has gone down the inside 3 wide there underneath the hotel. And Charlie couldn't quite hold on to it. And that's dropped them right back down again. It was a bold move. Toby, I don't know if you saw that, but it was a really risky manoeuvre, but it's not paid off for them. And Charlie's dropped back into 9th.
I saw that and I thought there was going to be a massive accident there.
Was going to always be a risk to try and get 3 of those cars through as the McLaren of Jay goes very, very wide. So Charlie has to do it all again. But that battle is dropping this chain of cars a big distance back from Ghosty, Mac T, M1 Righty and Roadrunner. So I do want to go back to the front of the grid, but I dare not leave this battle here for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th. Even 11th, should I say, and 12th. So it's all happening here in the bottom half of the field. Really late braking from Charlie Ark. They haven't made that work, though, as they come through and try to get past Spicy Nuts. But no, Obo is now through on Charlie. So is Charlie trying too hard here, Toby, to try and get past these drivers too quickly? I know they want to make these places back, but it's really pushing them actually backwards. I think they're taking 2 steps back for every step forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're over pushing their medium tyres. They're going to suffer even more at the end of the race.
It's Very strong driving from the pack of cars here, but everyone keeping it on track, and I'm sure there'll be some reports to the FIA come the end of today's race, but everyone's still going. Doesn't look to be any damage at this point either for these drivers, so let's hope for more of the same aggressive but fair driving through the rest of this race. We're on lap 21 of 29, folks. This is flying by. Let's get back to the front of the grid here. So Roadrunner is leading the way from M1 Righty. Get on board with Roadrunner. They do have some battery left here, so got the ability to defend, but they've got M1 Righty behind them, and M1 just perhaps biding their time. And M Dorling now up into 5th, having got past SS7. And there's Mac T in 3rd. So Toby, who do you think's got this at the moment? It's between these front 4, it's pretty hard to call.
It could be anyone. It just takes one mistake and they could they could plummet like a stone.
They really could, and we saw that with Charlie, and Charlie now down there in 10th, so not really being able to make many moves forward. MacT, as they often do, just biding their time, perhaps conserving those tyres. Some battery left. I'm going to have a look at M1 Righty's cockpit. Yes, everyone with a reasonable amount of battery there. Ghosty with a whole ton of battery left to deploy. So this is the ERS, folks, the energy recovery system. Gives the drivers a bit of booster power, which they can selectively deploy at key moments in the race, and it recharges over time. But Goat doing well there. And Toby, I don't know if you saw that. Ghosty with a full battery pack is really going to have the ability to challenge as we come towards the end of this race.
Definitely, Goat's in one of the best places to win, and then I just came down to M Dorling and he nearly hit the wall in the final turn, nearly giving SS7 and P5.
A good observation from Pete in the Twitch chat, actually. So could M Dorling actually end up dragging the hard runners onto the back of these front 4 cars? That's very, very possible, as M1 Righty goes back into the lead of this race on lap 22 into turn 6 there. So M1 Righty back through on Roadrunner, and they know that they're going to be under pressure for these last 7 laps or so. Roadrunner back through on the inside of M1. So these drivers really battling it out on these medium tyres, Toby, but it's a real risk, isn't it? And perhaps SS7 and Decives may still come back into play.
Yeah, definitely. Them being on the hard, they'll have pretty much medium pace from now to the end of the race, whereas the mediums will just keep deteriorating and deteriorating.
We saw the mediums go off around about lap 8 or 9 in the first part of the race. So those hard runners the race will start to come to them. It's all switching around at the back, and we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. That was Emeleki, who is moving once again, possibly coming together with F1 Lewis. So Emeleki back up under steam again. Doesn't look to have any damage from a distance. No, so Emeleki looks to at least be in one piece, but today's race not going the way of the Williams driver. The other Williams driver of Decives remains on the back of SS7, and SS7 now looking to get past M Dorling and close in. Nice move pass under DRS there from SS7, and Decives trying to do the same on the outside of M Dorling. M Dorling holding on to 6th at least, not losing 2 places there. And SS7 now scampering away, 4.8 seconds the gap to Ghosty. We'll keep a close eye on that. SS7 will want to get outside that DRS range, that 1 second from M Dorling as quickly as they can. M Dorling's going to be defending from Decives, so that's going to be at least give SS7 some protection, but they've got a lot of track to make up in the last 5 laps or so remaining of this race. Down to F1 Lewis, and who goes very wide there, battling with Jay, trying to come through.
There.
Yeah, I did see that. A lot of contact between those 2 drivers there. So a lot going on everywhere we look here on round 4 GeForce Racing Season 3 of the Elite League, here with Roadrunner leading the way for Alfa Romeo. I'm up with Decives, who is trying to hold on to M Dorling, not really able to get through on them just yet. Riding on board with Decives. M Dorling will have protection here from the DRS of SS7. We saw SS7's red light blinking in front of us, so they have been aggressively using their battery to try and get ahead of Endorling. But Decivest not able to make a move. Pete's telling me to get back up to the front, and rightly so, because we've got 5 laps left to go. Roadrunner leads the way, but only just from M1 Righty. Then comes MacT in third and Ghosty. So will it be a win for the Alpines, the Mercedes, or the Alfa Romeo? Roadrunner looking to pick up their first victory here. And Toby, I'm not seeing that gap come down between Ghosty and SS7. So these.
Oh, there's been a massive crash coming out in the exit of turn 9 between F1 and J.
And we have lost J, and we have a safety car. And just in time for our front runners to see the pit lane. Wow, that was close. So Jay is in. Did you see what?
Going to lose out.
Toby, did you see what happened between Jay?
Yes.
And F1?
I took a front row seat. I was watching F1 Lewis when it happened.
So
what happened was Jay, F1 Lewis had their front wheels next to Jay's rears, and Jay came across, not thinking F1 was there, and he just got spun around. There was contact in the middle of turn 9 as well.
So a huge accident, and we lose Jay towards the latter stage of this race, and that's brought out the safety car. We will have, I suspect, a couple of laps under the safety car. Interesting tyre selection here, Toby. So everyone going on to softs except for MacT. Does MacT know something everyone else doesn't, or is just soft tyres? They've got none left, or why would you go on to mediums? I suppose that's the question I'm asking myself.
I think either he doesn't have any left, or the game has made a mistake where he's selected softs, but they've put on mediums, because that's happened to me before.
Oh, okay. There's every possibility of that. You're absolutely right. We've seen the old one in previous races accidentally select intermediates when it's bone dry as well, and vice versa. So that could be the explanation, although MacT is usually in well control of what they are doing. And maybe there's some method in their madness here. We have not seen soft tyres be the tyre of choice around this track at all in previous seasons. So maybe MacT just doesn't like them either. We will see what that does, but they are certainly going to have their work cut out to stay with these front runners in the first lap or two. We may only get 2 more laps. We will see when the safety car is coming in. We learnt from season 2 that the game is coded, Obo was telling us, to give us 2 laps of racing at the end under a safety car. So we should get laps 28 and 29. It's whether or not we will get any more. We shall see, as we're about to start lap 26. So this one is going to go at least 1 more lap. It does at least bring Emma Leckie back into play for these final laps of the race. And just like the real world, Abu Dhabi gives us a few surprises towards the end of a race. The drivers will be conserving those softs, not pushing them here. They want to keep them warm, ready to go. But also don't want those tyres to drop off too much as their drivers take various different lines through turn 2 there. And Toby, it's just going to be a mad blast to the end, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be qualifying with extra people.
And it's a bit of a chat going on between Jay and F1 Lewis in the chat, I think, and a few other drivers as well. So some questionable manoeuvres that have gone on today, it would seem. We didn't catch them all on the stream, but I'm sure the FIA will get a good look at them later on. I've got to say up front, though, it's been some cracking racing between Roadrunner, M1, MacT and Ghosty. With them Dorling now, Toby, this race really has come to them. So after a real struggle in qualifying, I think by their standards, they're in 5th on soft tyres right on the back of these front 4. So we won't count them out either.
Yeah, definitely not.
And safety car is in this lap. So hold on to your hats, folks. This is going to be 3 laps of all sorts of crazy as our drivers look to find out who is going to be the winner of round 4 here. Will it be Roadrunner to hold on to that? They're going to have such a battle to be able to do that with the pressure of DRS, which will not be enabled immediately. So there'll be at least a lap where they won't have to fight the DRS, but they will still be dragging all of these cars behind them. Certainly down into turn 6 and then up to turn 9. I would encourage Rio, when I speak to him next, to make sure he watches this one back. He's going to love this one. Well, Toby, would you rather be out there?
No. I'm quite enjoying sitting here, watching everything and getting all the evidence put in and watching the debate going on the Discord.
Well, Roadrunner has taken them off on to lap 27, so Roadrunner leads the way. Got a good jump on M1 and MAC-T. So MAC-T will take a few moments to get those medium tyres up to full operating temperature. Let's get down to Goat Ghosty and M Dorling. Number of drivers going wide. Pete's telling me through turns 1 and 2 there. So it's going to be a switch of positions here. M1 will look to try and take the lead of this race, I'm sure, as quickly as they can and try and pull away. We go back to M1. It does look as though our driver's trying to find a route through. Does M1 try and make a dive down the inside? They think better of it at these early stages. There is a move from the Williams there of Desaves, it would seem, on SS7. Doesn't make it stick though, so SS7 holds on to 6th place. Does look as though MAC-T and Goat Ghosty going side by side into turn 9. MAC-T with the inside line holds on to 3rd place at the moment. The Alpine ducks back in behind the Mercedes. And MAC-T retains 3rd. Goat Ghosty behind them. M Dorling is on the back of Goat Ghosty here. So this battling keeps the drivers behind interested, and one small mistake is going to drop them back. And this is the thing, Toby, isn't it? If you make a mistake now, you could be down in 10th.
Yeah, it's how close the pack is. The biggest gap there is between people is at 1.1 seconds. It's not that big.
And M Dorling takes the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:23.766. That will get them an extra point if nobody else beats that. But I think we might see it beaten one more time before the end of this race. 2 laps to go. 28 we're on out of 29. MAC-T holding on to 3rd. Desperately trying to get those medium tyres to hang on to the back of M1 Righty. But Goat Ghosty now we ride on board with as we head down to turn 6. Desperate defending there from MAC-T. Goat not able to find a way past, but M1 takes a look down the inside. Doesn't work. There's a tap on the back of MAC-T from Goat Ghosty under the braking into turn 6. They'll now have the DRS as we come through 7 and 8. Underneath the signs there as we go down into turn 9. Goat, rightly so, I think, backing out of that one, recognising the tap into turn 6 and 7. So MAC-T holding on to 3rd, continuing to fight with Goat Ghosty. M Dorling there on the back of Goat. Then comes SS7. Then we got a bit of a gap between Desaves and Spicy. Spicy still hanging on. Charlie Hart picking up a 3-second time penalty. So many of our drivers able to clear their penalties. I don't know if I've lost audio from the game or it's just got very, very quiet. No, game audio is back with me. That's good. So M Dorling, we are with, currently holding the fastest lap of the race. That's an extra point as well as the points for finishing in 5th. Could end up being a reasonably good day for Ferrari here. But SS7 might have something to say about that. They are on the back of M1 Dorling in the Ferrari. We'll have DRS here. Has some battery left. Not an awful lot. Let's get up to the front though, because it could have a change for the lead. No, M1 not able to make it work. Holding on. Roadrunner's holding on there as M Dorling's holding on from SS7.
Oh, F1's just punted Obo.
And there's contact between F1 and Obo. F1 is probably not going to be a driver's favourite this week, it would seem. Or as we're staying with M1 on the back of Roadrunner. M1 cannot find a way past as desperately as they might try. M1 goes very wide on the exit. M1 trying to take victory of this race. They really want to take maximum points here, given the loss they had in Imola. But Roadrunner's not having anything of it as they hold on to the lead of this race. And is Roadrunner going to come home to win their first ever race of the GFR Racing Elite League? Roadrunner wins in Abu Dhabi. M1 Righty in second. MAC-T holds on to 3rd. Ghosty in fourth. M. Dorling hangs on.
Lewis just F1 Lewis just DNF just before the end.
Wow, so a lot to talk about, I think, with our Aston Martin drivers. M. Dorling gets driver of the day from the game, and I don't blame the game for giving it to M. Dorling. But Toby, who are you going to give driver of the day to? I know you only saw half of it from the commentary angle, but who would you give it to?
I'm going to say... it's a difficult one. I might go Roadrunner, because it was a consistent race. He lucked out on the pit stop, so he timed it right, and he just played his cards, and he did great on defending.
Well, I'm going to go for Roadrunner. I'm going to go for Roadrunner. I think they drove fantastically well. First victory with us, and if you beat M1 Righty, you certainly deserve that accolade. Pete, who are you going to give your driver of the day to? Roadrunner as well for Pete. Thank you, Pete. So let us know in the chat, who do you think was driver of the day? Ace, you've officially left the session. It was the game's telling us. All right, so first, Roadrunner, their first ever victory with us. Maximum points for them and Alfa Romeo. M1 Righty in second. Mac T in third for Mercedes. Another good performance from Mac T. Ghosty gets fourth. Much better performance than they had in Spa last week. M. Dorling, the game's driver of the day, up into fifth. SS7 takes sixth. Desaves seventh. Spicy Nuts eighth. M. Malecki in ninth. And Charlie Ark all the way down there in 10th after a very, very tough race for them. But they do at least get a point, and there may be a few things to be sorted out by the FIA a little bit later on, which might adjust some of those standings, but I sense much of it happened further down the running order. Well, Toby, it's never boring here in Abu Dhabi, and the league didn't disappoint this week either.
No, I'm just dreading to go to the FIA.
You and me both. And folks, if you don't know, Toby, myself, David T, who's been in the chat with us today, and a few of SHS Predestinato are in the FIA team, so we get the privilege, should I put it that way, of
that's one way of putting it.
reviewing the various different incident reports from our drivers. I said there may be one or two this week, but I don't think that will influence the race winner though. So a huge congratulations here to Roadrunner. Pete says well deserved, and I wholeheartedly support that. So very good from the front half of the grid at least, and I know some of the others probably had a race they would like to forget. We'll see what that does to the driver standings when we come together next week. And next week we change continents. We head over to Austin in the USA to the Circuit of the Americas. For round 5, the GFR Racing Elite League is going to, the end of that race will mark the halfway point of season 3, and we will see, can M1 Righty return to the top step of the podium? Will Roadrunner give it 2 weeks in a row? Will Charlie Ark recover from a bit of a tough round here? Will we get a new victor from the GFR Racing Elite League? Join us next week to find out. Got to say a big thank you to Toby to come join us in the commentary box in the end. We would rather you had been out there for the whole race, but I appreciate you jumping on board with us, and perhaps you joined us for the best part of the race, the more exciting and eventful end.
Yeah.
I see Toby's already reviewing incident tickets, I get a sense. My thanks to Pete also for being with us. I think Rio will be back with us next week. I have heard rumour of a podcast season episode 3 coming very soon, so we'll let you know when that is out for you to take a listen to. Episodes 1 and 2 are available on Rio's dedicated YouTube channel. There is a link on our Twitch channel and on our YouTube channel, so head over there and have a listen to that. You can hear from our drivers, from our stats guru, and a few other things about the real world F1. So tune into Rio and his past and upcoming podcasts. Thanks to our drivers for another excellent round. We've got Roadrunner in the chat. Thanks for joining us here. Brilliant drive today. Congratulations. I think that ruin has been coming since you first joined us, and it's good to see you on the top step. Look out for M1 Righty next time around. They'll want to take that top step back from you, but brilliant drive today. All right, folks, we are going to leave you there. My last thank you is to all of you for watching. Thanks ever so much for being with us on a Wednesday and for giving up some of your time to be with us and for contributing to the chat and just being part of the G-Force Racing and M1 Racing community. We look forward to seeing you next week. We are going to be live next week in USA at the Circuit of the Americas race. I don't think it's a sprint next week, so we should be live from 8 p.m. UK time. We've also got the Ironman round 4, I think, or 5 it will be. You'll be able to watch me and Toby. Are you going to be racing in the Ironman on Sunday?
I won't be able to make it because I'm in the Civic Theatre from like 1 a.m. till 10 a.m. doing rehearsals.
Showtime for you.
From 1 p.m.
Okay, different form of showtime. I am going to be driving for AlphaTauri, and we'll see if we can keep our points scoring run going. We have no idea where we're going to be. We will find out on Sunday, about an hour before the race. David's just confirmed no sprint for the round in Austin. Thank you, David. Well, let me leave you there. It's enough chat. Have a great rest of your week. If you want to come and join us on the stream on Sunday and see if I can survive another round. I'm often joined by a couple of other drivers, so I don't know if David and Obo may come and join me for that, or maybe one or two others. Tune in and we'll see if we can survive another 100% race on F123. Until then, stay safe and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now. Now we've got 3 cars wide. And Mac T's trying to get down the inside of M. Dorling. They're going to do it. Great switch back from him, one there. All right, folks, let's go racing.